Hello and welcome back to this edition of Value Time. Again, your host, Keith Weiss, licensed clinical social worker. Thanks for joining us, however you may be joining us. And you know, I sometimes sit up here on this desk and I tell people, oh, look, the desk is about to get much better looking. That is the case here. But not only is the desk about to get much better looking, the ability and the quality of the acting is about to get a whole lot better. As well, I welcome in my two friends and colleagues, Sue Peace. Sue, thank you for joining us today.
My pleasure.
Glad that you are here. Stephanie Kinney Gomez, thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you.
And so I am so very excited. Look, there's a lot of things that I'll talk about and read about and think, okay, this is something I want to do. But I am so very excited that my wife and I and my mom are all season ticket holders for La Petite. And I think very often it's those people that really have enjoyed and appreciated the theater can appreciate the maturity of what y'all bring to the theater. Now, y'all, we called it something else as we were getting ready. We're not gonna, but it's the maturity of coming back. And I just kind of want to get your perspective. Sue, you've done this for a really long time. And tell me what it's like to be back on stage on a completely renovated, very beautiful, historic downtown building as La Petite de Terrebonne.
Well, it's wonderful. It's so great to be there and to feel, you still feel the old building.
Yeah.
And all its memories and love. Right. But yet we've got really nice seats and bathrooms,
right.
Things like that
right.
we needed desperately.
Right. And so it's really interesting as we think about sometimes how things in life are didactic, that we have that old and new that meet at the door where you're about to walk out on stage. You still see the volume of names of those people who have signed, just for those people who have been there. We have a tendency to sign our names on lots of different things. And there's a lot of those signatures. And you kind of cross that threshold into old and new. And it's just so very refreshing. Stephanie, same for you. What's it feel like?
Home. Feels like home. I grew up there. I did my first show when I was 15. And so it feels like, it looks very different.
Right.
But it's still home.
Grew up there, fell in love there.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Literally.
Fell in love and fell in love with the theater, fell in love. And for the late Glenn Gomez, whom we all think about all the time there. So very well represented, which is a blessing as well. But people can talk about how COVID and how Ida impacted their life, but you guys have a much more unique story. Tell us about the 3 days prior to opening with this show.
Well, it was a funny thing happened is that the first weekend it was being booked really nicely, as the numbers were climbing. And then all of a sudden by that Monday, the phone stopped ringing, literally stopped ringing. And the online stuff kind of dwindled. Now we had really good numbers for the first weekend, but after that, it was like, what is wrong? And then of course we looked at the news, because you don't have a lot of time to do that when you're rehearsing a show.
Right.
And we realized what was going on. And so by that Wednesday, we made the decision, we can't do this. This is not going well. And then the governor came down and made his proclamation. And then ironically, just 2 days later, Broadway closed. And some of those people had, 3 hours notice. They closed them down 3 hours before their opening, whereas at least we were able to contact the people who had made reservations to explain what was going on.
Wow. And here we are talking about this coming back and being able to do it. And again, the name of the show is Erma, Bombeck at Wits End. And as we look at the flyer here so we can find out more information, you can see the wonderful Sue Peace, Erma Bombeck at Wits End, and she will be on stage in a one-woman show, April 28th through 30th and May 2nd through 7th. For reservations, 985-876-4278 or at www.houmalittletheater.com. And again, reservations are easy to be able to get. You guys talk about how it affected the patrons. And that's very interesting that that's your perspective. I know what it takes to be prepared for a show, not with 39 or 40 people, not with one person, but somewhere in between. And the volume of time and hours and energy and directing and redirecting and figuring out what does or doesn't work. And then it just kind of gets pulled out from underneath you. It's difficult. But y'all were thinking about the people that y'all had to call, that they couldn't come. And so here 3 years later, we're able to do it. Sue, tell us maybe a little bit before this verse goes. We're almost out of time here in the first segment. Y'all will stick around?
Yes,
right?
sir.
All right, I like that. A little bit about what this play means to you. And I know you see a challenge as a one-woman play. I see it with fear in my eyes if somebody ever asked me. But doing this and being Erma.
Irma, I've loved Irma for a long time.
Yeah.
As I was raising my 3 sons and going to school and trying to do everything I was doing, I picked up a book one day, and it was called The Grass Grows Greener Over the Septic Tank. And I thought, well, there's my life. So I started reading it. And what was so wonderful about Erma Bombeck is she was able to take exactly what you're feeling as a mother, as a housewife, as a wife, just trying to figure things out, to make the right decisions and things like that. So it was really so awesome. And then when I got a chance to actually play Erma, I was just excited because she had been someone I had really respected and looked up to.
Let's talk about the difference. And Stephanie, we talked about it earlier about the difference between kind of directing 39 people, maybe some new, some old, or directing the most celebrated person in the theater, but maybe the most difficult to direct at the same time. I'm just kidding, Sue. Because her artistry is that she's been there, Let's talk a little bit about directing Sue Peace in this play.
Oh, stop. You're wonderful.
Right.
Yeah. We go way back.
Right.
We've known each other over 30 years. And so that relationship transcends to the theater. I mean, we can read each other. We know each other.
Right.
And it's not hard at all. She's wonderful.
Right. And so it's one of those things where a lot of the things that is the read, and very often the words and or what you're saying and wanting to portray kind of initiates what action you're doing or not doing. And y'all are probably both on the same page for a lot of that, right?
Yes, pretty much all the time.
Yeah, that's what makes theater so much fun, because it makes all of the work that you do fun in going into the start of the show. So the decision to do it was that Erma's really been somebody that you've respected in as much as that she's really done some groundbreaking things in her own life.
Oh, it was amazing. And I did not really find out about that until I said, yes, I'd do the show.
Right.
And it was amazing what Erma has accomplished in her life.
Right.
She was a member of ERA. She went on the road and talked about the equal rights and what it meant to women. And it was just so amazing to see. Not only did she write books, write columns, things like that, she also stood for the American woman.
Right.
It was beautiful to see.
Well, and I wonder if there's ever a place that really has said women are as important, if not more important, than the theater. Because very often that's one of those places where we've been able to see that there's been equal rights. In fact, in my mind, the women kind of sail the ship, if you will. In my little experience here in our area with doing theater, it's just that we've got some people who really lead the way. And it seems like Erma was one of those people that was able to do that. And I like that. So put the flyer up one more time. I want people to know what they can do and how they can get tickets. And I want you to know that this is our springtime play. It is April 28th to April 30th, and then again, May 2nd through May 7th. It is Erma Bombeck, Sue Peace, The Bomb, at Wits End at La Petite, the renovated La Petite, the very beautiful La Petite. For reservations, 95-876-4278, or you can go online at www.homalittletheater.com. And so very excited to be able to be back in the theater and really to be able to celebrate that, and for some more people to be in the theater, for a completely renovated downstairs and upstairs, air conditioning that works. I mean, all of those things that people kind of take for granted that we kind of knew about and know backstage in doing the theater and some of those things. But Sue, any thoughts about the fact that it's a one-woman play?
Well, it's a lot different.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you that right now.
Right.
I've had different people say, well, it's one person, you just get up there. But when you do a show, it's a everybody is working together on that.
Yeah. There's a lot of
And,
different pieces to the
somebody
puzzle.
goes, there's nobody there to pick you up.
Right.
When it's a one
Yeah, there's nobody there who can help you with your next line.
Not a thing. You just sit there and go, well.
Well, for those of us that know Sue Peace and have been on stage with her, we know that something's coming out. And maybe only she and Stephanie are the two people that know that doesn't have anything to do with this particular production. But that's just kind of one of those things. I've only seen one other. I think Stephen may have done a one-man show. Did Stephen Crispino, and maybe I'm not thinking
a two-person
a two-person show.
This is the first time we've ever done a one.
Oh, thank you for that. See, this is historic. This is historic. And so it's very unique, and I like the fact that we're doing it, and I can't wait. Absolutely can't wait. And I know that that's how patrons all over our area and extended area, there are people coming in from lots of different cities to enjoy La Petite. Mm-hmm. And it's just really, really nice. The other thing that they can do is, whether they can sing or not, an interesting conversation Sue Peace and I had when she said yes, I said no, she said yes, I said no. The musical this summer is Margaritaville, one of the best plays I've ever seen on Broadway, La Petite, or New Orleans, ever. Auditions are coming up.
Yes, it's Jimmy Buffett's Escape to Margaritaville. Actually, auditions will be next week on our dark nights, which would be the Monday and Thursday.
And Thursday.
Then there's a dance one after, I don't remember the name. But if you call the box office, we can let you know.
Right. And the way to reach the box office, put the flyer up one more time, Jen. We'll give you that number and that email if you want to. Again, you can see right there, Sue Peace will be Erma Bombeck at Wits End, April 28th through April 30th and May 2nd through May 7th. Or if you're interested in singing, and if you can do that, reservations are at 876-4278, or you can call and let them know that you would like to be part of auditions for Jimmy Buffett's Escape to Margaritaville. I just call it Margaritaville, but it's actually Escape to Margaritaville.
Big long name.
Yeah, exactly. And so excited about that. Ladies, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for being such a part of our theater and so much a part of our community for so many years. Can't wait to see the play.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You got it. All right, guys, that will do it for this particular segment of Bayou Time. Don't go anywhere. A whole lot more local programming right here on HTV.